Eisenhower, and it might look like something's happening. Those are just construction barrels right now, and people that live in that area, of course, maybe have grown accustomed to that. But the good news is there are no accidents to report right now, and the roads for the moment are dry. So more on the weather coming up in just a little bit.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the South Side area, because crime has been a recent problem for a group of businesses over there.
Yeah, our Madeline Lambert and photojournalist Jared Luna spoke with the owners about what they've been dealing with.
This week, we told you about an ongoing arson investigation that started at Pika Pika Plaza. Now, you can see this video right here that shows fire and smoke coming from near the building. The business owner, Rudy Lopez, told us he's seen many crime-related issues over the last few weeks. So we're headed back to the South Side to hear from business owners on what they've been experiencing.
Our first stop is La Sorpresa on Pleasanton Road.
I'm Madeline.
I'm Vanessa.
We're meeting with the owner, Vanessa Salazar.
I came in, everything was a mess right here where the register was at. I mean, they're just coming to damage the stuff, and there's nothing to take.
Vanessa told us some of her neighboring business have had the same problem.
I mean, you're just hearing all over down Pleasanton, there's been break-ins, too many. And it's like, well, why are we hearing more break-ins down Pleasanton? What are they doing? They're not doing anything.
So we're going to try Lord's Barber Shop to see if anyone has any information. Come on.
Everybody from the south side comes to Lord's. They like it, but there's been a lot of criminal activity over here, stealing now. If they're hitting everyone down the street, has to be somebody that knows a target.
Both Vanessa and the owner of Lord's Barbershop told me they had over $3,000 in damages from these break-ins.
It's probably somebody around here that knows the system or something, and the law's not getting down to it.
So I reached out to District 3 Councilmember Phyllis Villagran's office, who doesn't have a comment at this time, but instead her team said she'd be briefed on these incidents soon. Reporting from the South Side, Madeline Lambert, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Madeline, thank you. So we asked San Antonio Police what they thought about these incidents. A spokesperson for the department recommends that businesses contact their SAFE officer.
So those are officers who work directly in local communities face-to-face to fight crime. And you can find your SAFE officer online at sanantonio.gov.
Okay, one more look outside with live cam on this Friday. And we've talked about so many things happening this weekend. We've got high school football games, of course, outside this evening, starting right now, as a matter of fact.
And SpaceCon actually happening, also happening right now. We know that it's a big weekend in San Antonio. We told you about one of those. Paul McCartney.
Sir Paul McCartney.
In town, and our good friend Shelby Ebertowski now joins us live from the Freeman Coliseum for SpaceCon.
Yeah, guys, I'm live from SpaceCon, and although it might be hot and pretty sunny outside, it is nice and cool inside, but not only cool because of the temperatures, but also the things they have here. We have panels of all these celebrities just to the right of us, and not only that, they also have booths. They have so many booths. If you love Star Wars, there are multiple lightsaber events. They have plenty and plenty of artwork and other events here at SpaceCon. It runs all throughout the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you need a good event here in San Antonio, there's plenty to do here at SpaceCon. But although it might be a little cooler inside SpaceCon, it might be a little toasty as you head throughout the next few hours here in San Antonio. Especially, SpaceCon is going to be a great option to stay inside, avoid all the rain chances today, and especially throughout the weekend, especially because we have those chances of rain today and tomorrow. And Adam Caskey will tell you all what you need to know coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And those lightsabers looked so cool. Those were great. All right, I want to talk about the primary storm threats going forward later on tonight. The highest, and these are in order from the largest threat to the lowest. And the highest threat is street flooding, some flash flooding and street flooding, the typical flood prone areas, but even just your street when it rains heavily. You know, you get the little stream that's running down the side of the road, and if you have, say, an empty recycling bin out there or empty trash bin, it can get carried away, that kind of thing. And also some flash flooding of the low water crossings. No river flooding with this situation here. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, moderate risk of that, similar risk of large hail. Now, it would be localized. The hail and wind would be localized, and keep in mind, we cannot know where the hail's going to be until the hail-making storm actually develops. It's impossible to tell until those storms actually pop up. All right, western Val Verde County and even farther to the west, that's where the action is starting. And this is going to continue to fill in on the radar screen in the coming hours. It's going to be a slow process for the clusters of storms to fill in. Notice how they're just separate storms now. That's the way it's going to start, and then they're going to come together and become a more organized system as it moves in, kind of line of storms. Now, here's the latest futurecast, and these are far from perfect. Keep that in mind. They're never perfectly accurate. Has the action 9-10 o'clock in the Hill Country. Thereafter, closer to midnight, 1 a.m. here in San Antonio. But like I said earlier in the newscast, experience tells us that once these clusters of storms finally develop, they often move in a little faster than the computer models are telling us. So even though the models have been very consistent on midnight in San Antonio, be prepared between 10 and 11 p.m. because experience tells us that. We've seen it several times. And then off and on through the night, all the way through sunrise on your Saturday morning, we'll have these showers or heavy showers and thunderstorms coming and going, frequent lightning, frequent thunder. And that's likely to wake you, your kids, your pets up. And if anybody's is scared of the lightning and thunder, just be prepared for that overnight tonight. But don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I will be here tonight. Sarah Spivey is going to come in as well, and we'll walk you through the storms as they move through, especially live on the KSAT Weather Authority app. That's one of the easiest ways to watch us live when we're live tracking the storms. Okay, so a break midday tomorrow. We'll have a break late morning through the early afternoon, and then redevelopment of showers and storms, some of which could become strong to severe tomorrow afternoon and early evening. I know the computer is showing the action mainly east of San Antonio. It could be anywhere on the map here. And there is the potential, I think, of some localized large hail tomorrow afternoon and localized high wind gusts. It's just not going to be as widespread as what we have going on tonight. So here's a look at the rain chances tomorrow. By 8 o'clock, they're down to 50%, 20% 10 a.m. through the early afternoon, 2 o'clock at 30%. But then we bump up to 40%, possibly even higher than that, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and evening. Overall rainfall potential, we do think there will be some swaths of about 1 to 3 inches, not necessarily in these exact places that this computer model is showing right now. But this is also a good example of how our rain often works around here. Say this prediction was to come true. 0.8 of an inch in southern Bexar County, 2.7 in northern Bexar County. We know rainfall is highly variable, and this is going to be one of those cases, but we do think several neighborhoods do have the potential of 1 to 3 inches, maybe some localized pockets of more than that. Tomorrow, temperature-wise, 65 in the morning, 85 in the afternoon, still some noticeable humidity. Humidity is swept away for Sunday. Sunday, beautiful, high and dry. Sunrise to sunset, nothing but sunshine, low humidity, and it's going to feel nice with that lack of mugginess despite making it to 90 degrees. Again, we've already had 20 90-degree days this month. That is a new all-time record for 90-degree days in October. But next week, welcome cold front. Look at this. Look at that. 50s in the morning by Wednesday, 70s Wednesday and Thursday afternoon, and Halloween actually looking comfortable. Trick-or-treating in the 70s.
Yes.
Lovely.
Sir. Okay. Thank you.
So, the weather is affecting some of those games that are happening tonight. So I just want everybody, if they haven't already, to download our free KSAT Weather Authority app so that you can track any of the changes. We know that some games had to be moved actually earlier because of the weather.
Yeah, whether it be trying to avoid the weather or to make sure the players and all of the coaching staff get home before the rain happens.
Okay.
Seemed to be a mic situation.
You know what? Let's call an audible real quick. Mary, you go ahead and continue.
Now you can hear me. Yes,
Yes.
Players are trying to avoid traveling in the rain. That kind of was the big thing. All right. We'll show you all of those times that moved.
I have to stay close to you.
And we'll preview our BGC road trip coming up. A full slate of high school football. So excited to show you that. Also the Spurs and Pelicans in action. So we'll preview that matchup after the break.
Couldn't have said.
We're excited. So anytime you get to play Friday night under the lights, it's fun. So bring the rain, bring whatever you got.
Coach Reynolds at Natalia is not afraid of the rain. In fact, he welcomes it in big board sports. There are 3 stops on our Week 9 big game coverage road trip. One stop is in Natalia for the Mustangs' big date with Poth. Everyone wants to hand the Pirates their first District 15 3A D2 loss since 2016. And Natalia has all the motivation in the world to try and accomplish that feat, as the Mustangs are just hanging on to the final playoff spot in their district. Natalia is 2-2 in district competition and most recently dropped a Week 8 contest at Cotulla 42-7.
This is a big week. This is a big game for us to get into playoffs, to get a playoff shot. So we're going to take it very seriously. We're going to come out and we're going to come and play hard. Overall, we've been pretty hyped at practice, getting ready, even though we have a big game this week to help our playoff chances. So we've been pretty, the energy's been there all week.
Poth is a tough opponent. Coach Luna at Poth does a great job year in and year out with those guys. So I know he's going to have them ready. They're playing some good football right now, and it's going to be a tough one for us, but I'm pretty confident in our guys and their abilities.
Here's the road trip map. You can catch all the highlights tonight on the Night Beat and after the Night Beat. Divine visiting Bandera, Natalia at Poth, and Lytle hosting Cole. Now, let's check in with KSAT 12 photojournalist Adam Braza, who's hanging out in Divine, getting ready to kick things off.
Yeah, hey Mary, we're here at the first stop of the road trip. It's great to be here. Week 9 already in the works. One of my favorite things is the food out at any sporting event, whether it be a sports drinks or chips. But with that being said, one of my favorites is nachos with jalapeno. And I want to know what yours is, Mary. Let me know when I send it back to you.
Well, Adam just said jalapenos in the sausage wrap, so that's his answer. I like pizza. Thank you very much, Adam. And here's our Week 9 Game of the Week matchup. Smithson Valley hosts New Braunfels at 7 o'clock. Sports director Larry Ramirez will be live from the game with a full post-game recap tonight. And we have a number of games that shifted their start times due to the possibility of inclement weather. The games at Gustafson and Ferris, they pushed their kicks 30 minutes earlier for 7 o'clock kicks. Canyon's home game versus Judson will start at 6:30. Steele at San Marcos moved to 6:30 as well. Davenport at Uvalde, that game's now at 6 o'clock. Ingram Moore and Marion will start an hour earlier at 6, and Thrall at Comfort kick at 6. So be sure to go to our BGC section on KSAT.com for all of the updates.
Just one game. It's just one game. Obviously, it was a great game. We had great performances from a lot of people, but we got to move on, and we can't just dwell in that game. So we're excited for this next challenge.
The Silver and Black are in the Big Easy tonight, taking on the Pelicans, who lost their first game of the season to the Grizzlies 128-122. Meanwhile, we all saw it. The Spurs dominated the Mavericks in their debut, looking very impressive. The Spurs IR sheet still looks the same. Fox, Olenek, Sohan, Waters are all out. Tip-off is at 7, and we'll update you on the action tonight on the Night Beats.
Hey, looking forward to it. Big night. Oh, there's so much going on no matter where we go, right? The sports world, what's happening downtown.
Good time of year to be in San Antonio. Mary, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, more to come here. Don't go away. Kate Rogers is out as the president and CEO of the Alamo Trust.
And this is coming after Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick called for her resignation over her alleged views, which she expressed in her doctoral dissertation back in 2023. And in that piece, she disagreed with Republican leaders and also their decisions about the Alamo's history. Obviously, this has been sparking some controversy, and we know that now Bexar County and San Antonio City leaders are reacting to all of this news.
All right, so in a statement sent to KSAT, Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai called the situation gross political interference, saying in part, quote, "The next thing you know, they'll be denying Japanese internment. We need to get politics out of our teaching of history," end quote.
And then we have Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones, who said in part, quote, "This is a huge loss for our state. The courage to tell the varied experiences of those at the Alamo, not pandering to certain people, should drive how we help the next generation learn about this historic site," end quote. Switching gears now, we have to talk about another major city issue, and that is the new Spurs Arena. A big question is, of course, who pays? Many of you have been asking this, so we're going to break it down for you right now. $311 million in Bexar County money would be only one source of funding for the new Spurs Arena, which is estimated to overall cost $1.3 billion.
Right, so the city of San Antonio could pay up to $489 million, plus the Spurs would kick in $500 million, and they promise $1.4 billion in private development around the arena that the city could generate money from, and here's ultimately how.
The city would contribute up to $489 million, or 38% of the cost of the new arena, whichever is lower. A little over half of the city money would come from two sources. First, rent. The Spurs will pay the city to use the arena, and private developers will pay the city to lease land around it. And second, guaranteed development. The Spurs and private developers promise $1.4 billion in development around the arena. The city will collect the property tax growth from that development and put it toward the arena.
That is money that doesn't exist without this project happening, correct?
That's correct. It doesn't exist, really it doesn't exist but for the guarantee that we would contractually utilize with the Spurs and their developer.
What if it doesn't happen and the city doesn't get the money it's expecting from that?
The Spurs and the developer would be contractually obligated, and we would not make any contribution to towards the arena until those things occurred. So everything's got to happen at the same time.
It becomes a Spurs obligation and an obligation of its partners.
The other portion of the city's financial contribution comes from that same hotel occupancy tax. The state of Texas collects a 6% fee on hotel stays in San Antonio. The city can use that money to pay for a project in a 3-mile zone around Hemisphere. It's called a project finance zone. State legislation in 2023 made that possible.
We can use it for expanding the convention center. We can do it to improve the Alamo Dome, and we can utilize it for a new arena. Those are the only 3 uses that we can utilize that state revenue on.
So what happens if projects in those 3 areas don't happen for the city of San Antonio? Where's the money go?
So the money is literally held by the comptroller until we have a project. And so if we don't do any of those 3 projects, then the state will retain that money and it'll go into the state's general fund.
Under the law, the city cannot use that money for things like street maintenance, police officers, or firefighters, or other core services the city pays for.
So if you want to check out this or any other KSAT Explained, scan that QR code. You could find our streaming library of topics on demand on YouTube or the KSAT Plus app. And we'll be right back after this.
All right, I guess it's dinner time for a lot of people, and this week on Pickup Lines, a candid culinary conversation with award-winning San Antonio chef and restaurateur Jason Dady. Now, he was not born in San Antonio, but he got here in about 2001. His first restaurant opened weeks after 9/11, and he struggled from the very beginning.
I just was like, we don't have an option to fold. It's like, we have to, this is our life savings. This is everything we've got.
Yeah.
And we just kind of buckled in and buckled down and just worked really hard.
25 years after opening his first restaurant in Castle Hills, Jason Dady has established himself as one of the top culinary talents in our area. His restaurant and catering company, run by Jason, his wife, and brother, employs almost 300 people and strives to deliver delicious meals with customer service that is equally as good.
I would think, I mean, the food obviously is probably number one, but it doesn't matter how good the food is if you have a terrible experience in the restaurant.
I always say cooking is the easy part. Like, if all I had to do every day is get up and cook, my life would be very, very easy.
Right.
The difficult part is the people side of our business, because whether your team's not having a good day or a guest isn't having a good day, you're trying to create this kind of synergy where we're all here to have a great time. So to me, service is so critically important, and it has to be genuine. At the end of the day, be genuine of who you are and take care of the guests that are walking in the door, right? So,
and don't people typically, especially when they're going to come to one of your restaurants as opposed to like a fast food place, I mean, they want an experience.
Right, and they have high expectations. We have a reputation to uphold, and we have to exceed those expectations.
Dady's latest passion project is a 25,000 square foot Mexican-inspired plaza at River Center Mall called Mexico City. It is set to open in the coming months along the Riverwalk.
25,000 square foot of everything that you love about the food of Mexico, coast to coast, top to bottom, north to south. So it's my passion project, and I cannot wait to show everybody, because it's taking a long time,
Man.
But it's going to be amazing.
Dady is part chef, part businessman, and part cheerleader, which is why he makes time in his hectic schedule to appear on TV cooking shows and competitions when asked, to help keep San Antonio in the culinary spotlight.
I've always been able to kind of pick and choose what I've wanted to do in a way. I've turned down a lot of opportunities, you know, but for me, I really do approach these television shows as being a champion for our city, because that's your opportunity to help put San Antonio on the map, right? At the end of the day, we have had to fight really hard as a culinary community to get the long-term respect. And so for me, for 20 years at least, just really getting out there and doing events, whether that's Aspen Food and Wine, or LA Food and Wine, or going to New York for Star Chefs, and really just trying to be a champion and a cheerleader for our city.
I have had this conversation with other chefs as well, where I feel like, and I'm biased obviously, but San Antonio sometimes doesn't get as much love. I think we've come a long way in the last
100%.
couple of decades as it
100%.
relates to food.
No, it's a completely different world now, and I think and listen, we've always been on that brink, right? And we've always been on that brink, and now with the UNESCO and being a city of gastronomy, Michelin Guide coming to San Antonio, it's only a matter of time before a San Antonio chef wins a James Beard Award. Hopefully it's me for restaurateur. Wink. Wink. But the reality of it is like our time is now.
Yeah.
And it's going to flourish when it does happen, because I've always said the city of San Antonio, especially from a culinary perspective, we're in our infancy, right? We're just getting started. And so you're starting to see the real quality go up. You're starting to see the diversity come in, which to me is the exciting part about our food culture right now.
It's all exciting. I mean, think about it. When you travel, you ask, the sights, the people, the food. If you have bad food,
no bueno.
You don't want to go back there.
I know,
but obviously
I know.
there are so many good places around San Antonio to go and eat, and so we want to see more of that. Especially want to be indoors today.
Yeah, don't eat outside.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll be right back. Adam Caskey will walk you through tonight, your weekend, and all of next week after the break. Stay right there.
Do want to mention an update to a big story we mentioned about the Alamo Trust earlier. The Alamo Trust has just named unanimously Hope Andrade as the brand new president and CEO. She, among other things, is the former Texas Secretary of State.
So we know that she's replacing Kate Rogers, who resigned as president and CEO of Alamo Trust under a lot of controversy over some comments that she made in her dissertation for her doctoral degree back in 2023. Obviously, a lot of San Antonio and Bexar County leaders have been commenting on this, but the point is that right now Alamo Trust has a new president and CEO, and we're going to talk about this more tonight on the Night Beat. So now let's switch gears and talk about what's happening out there, because we want people to be prepared for what's going to happen tonight, this weekend, and all of next week, but mostly tonight.
Yeah, mostly tonight. And, all things considered, we really need the rainfall, so that's a great thing. And the timing, not exactly horrible, considering Friday night, like overnight, and then through sunrise on Saturday. So many Saturday events you can still squeeze in, and then Sunday's just high and dry. And even this evening, you're fine. Trunk or treat, fall festivals, you're A-OK, all the way through about 10, 11 p.m. And then by midnight, the storm chances really ramp up to 70%, but only a stray shower at 10 to 20% chance out ahead of this main batch. Now, the main batch is still off to the west near Ozona along I-10, and it stretches all the way up to Dallas-Fort Worth, all the way up to the Metroplex. But this is the closer in view of what's popping up and developing. Nothing around San Antonio at the moment. A few severe storms just outside of Valverde County. And that action is going to continue to develop and organize together into a more organized, basically, line and cluster of thunderstorms. 9, 10 o'clock. Mostly in the hill country. Thereafter, midnight, 1 a.m., especially moving into San Antonio. But I always have this caveat with these particular types of storm systems. Experience tells us that often, once they develop, they actually move in earlier than the computer models were indicating. So this is saying midnight, 1 o'clock in Bernie. It could accelerate to about 10, 11 p.m. I just want you to be prepared in case that's the situation later on tonight. And there's going to be some intermittent heavy rain, frequent lightning and thunder, so plan for it to wake you up, wake your kids up, maybe even spook your pets, your dogs. Take extra care and note that tonight that could be an issue. Off and on heavy rainfall, 1 to 3 inch swaths, we think, across our area. Not everybody getting it that much, but we do think there will be some pockets of 1 to 3 inches of rain. Chance of straight line wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour between midnight and 7 a.m. and localized large hail possible as well. Now notice at 7 o'clock we still have some action likely out there. This has the heaviest between Castroville and downtown. It could be anywhere on the map here. Just the main takeaway from this is timing of the main batch of storms. And also, here's the other thing. A midday break tomorrow. After sunrise through about 2 p.m., we get a break from the storm activity. Our atmosphere, however, should destabilize with redevelopment of scattered storms in the afternoon and early evening. And some of those could pack a punch as well. So we'll be watching for that Saturday afternoon. Don't cancel any Saturday afternoon outdoor plans. Just keep an extra eye and ear to the sky. Have your KSAT Weather Authority app ready with the notifications enabled, because we can get live to you right here from the studio, live to you on your phone, wherever you are. So notice tomorrow that lull, that 20% chance, 9-10 a.m. through noon. Then later in the afternoon, 3-4 o'clock, we boosted back up to 40%. Rainfall accumulations, as usual, it's going to be highly variable all across south central Texas with the, bullseyes, the haves and have-nots, but odds have favored some of the highest amounts up in the hill country. But keep in mind, this is more of a street flooding threat with the low water crossings than, say, a river flooding threat. And, 1 to 3 inch swaths, yeah, we do think that's quite possible. Temperature-wise tomorrow, 65 in the morning, 85 in the afternoon. We will squeeze in some sunshine. And then Sunday, nothing but sun, low humidity, right near 90 for the high temperature. And check out next week. Finally, we have our first cold front. Pow! That deserves a high kick. 50s by Wednesday morning, afternoons in the 70s. And yeah, it's going to be a lot more pleasant for Halloween.
Oh, 80 degrees looks fabulous.
For the high.
Yeah.
Trick-or-treating in the 70s.
I thought you were going to kick the pumpkin there.
Ooh, almost hit it, didn't I?
Okay, yeah, okay.
Poor thing.
Thank you.
We'll be back. Don't go away.
Breaking news, weather and sports. What can I say? We got you here at KSAT.
Indeed.
Yes, and now we want to talk about the Spurs versus the Pelicans, because that game is about to start.
Indeed, and football. There's, Mary, so much sports to talk about. You might need more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely do, but we only got 30, and today 15 to make sure we can really lock in to what's going on in the high school football world tonight. But yeah, first up, coming up on KSAT Sports now at 7 o'clock, streaming on KSAT Plus and KSAT.com. It's Spurs Game Day, previewing the matchup. We'll hear from Stephon Castle and how he thinks rookie Dylan Harper, the #2 overall pick in this summer's draft, performed against the Mavericks in what was a very dominant showing. Also, the undefeated third-ranked Texas A&M Aggies. They get real honest about their defense after letting up 42 points last week. Now they have to get ready for a top 20 matchup against LSU. That game will be live on KSAT 12. It'll be a huge one. A&M looking to stay undefeated, looking to move to 8-0. Also talking Cowboys. The Cowboys have a big game in Denver, and Texans defensive star Will Anderson Jr. has a fun story about his former college teammate and his opponent this week, Mac Jones. That's all coming up on KSN at 7 o'clock. Be sure to join us.